Voters in Virginia approved a new amendment giving Democrats the power now to redraw the congressional maps. Democrats would have a 10-1 advantage just ahead of the midterms in November. California Governor Gavin Newsom spiking the football over the Virginia vote.
Taking back the House of Representatives and taking back the United States Senate. MAGA, dare I say, they're losing at their own game. They're on the defense and they're scared.
All right, let's bring in our panel. Ambassador James Gilmore, former Trump administration ambassador to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and also the former governor of Virginia with us. Former Massachusetts senator and U.S. ambassador to New Zealand, Scott Brown. He's running to be New Hampshire's next U.S. senator. And pleased to have GOP strategist lawyer Ford O'Connell. He's the co-founder of Project Virginia. That was an initiative aimed at helping Virginia Republicans. And she is the chair of Fairfax, Virginia GOP, Katherine Gorka. Ford, I'll start with you. You've been working on this a long time. Are you surprised the way this vote went? It was close, I guess 51-49 breakdown, urban versus rural.
Well, when one side has all the money and one side has all the lies, you can get an egregious injustice like this across the line. And I'll say this. What's shocking to me is Republicans at the national level should have been spending more money on this, because when you look at Republican turnout during this referendum, it was the most right-leaning turnout Virginia's had in the 2020s. Hopefully you can overturn this. But in all honesty, I don't have great faith in the courts, even though a Tazewell Circuit Court judge says you may well be able to overturn this referendum.
Wow. Katherine, that was the question, is can this be overturned? And also just picking up on Newsom saying MAGA is scared. It all seems to be encapsulating a hate for President Trump. The governor, Abigail Spanberger, says that voters push back against a president who claims he is entitled to more Republican seats in Congress. So 10-1, yeah, that's way more fair, Katherine.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Virginia Democrats made it absolutely clear this vote was not about Virginia or what's fair for Virginia. They made it clear that this was all about just stopping President Trump. And Virginians didn't like that. Look, this was not a clear victory for the Democrats. They spent 3 times as much money as the Republicans, and yet they only eked out a 3-point win. That's less than the amount by which Kamala Harris won Virginia. So, this is a pyrrhic victory for them.
Ambassador Gilmore, Obama, who was campaigning for this, is celebrating, saying, congratulations, Virginia. You have the former Virginia governor, Terry McAuliffe, on X, saying Trump may get away with cheating at golf and cheating on his taxes, but we shut down his midterm cheating scheme cold. And then they go forward. The Virginia Supreme Court expected to take up the case. Is there a way to reverse this, Ambassador Gilmore?
Well, the courts are going to look at it, and they're in a little bit of trouble here. By putting it off until after the referendum. Now they're in a position where if they're going to abide by standard jurisprudence, they're going to have to overturn a referendum. That's hard for a court to do. But I don't know how they get around this. If you look at the court cases from the civil rights days, these districts are supposed to be compact. They're supposed to be contiguous. They're supposed to have a similarity of concerns of the people in the districts. None of that exists here. The Tazewell County judge showed all that, and now it's in the courts. So I think it's a real problem here. But look, the practicality of this is that it was a very narrow victory for them, 51-49, basically. The trends, Harris won by 6 against Trump. Spanberger won by 15, but that was a wave election. The referendum is less than 3. Spanberger's popularity is only 47%. So the trends, I think, are in the right direction here.